Hey gang, Stand Tall Steve here. Social emotional learning is a major component of the fabric of education. We now know the importance of having direct connections with students, making sure students feel safe, making sure students feel connected, and developing positive relationships within the school, which in turn helps the student learn better, progress better, show growth, and get the results that you want to see from them. It is a direct connector. Now, there's many of social emotional programs and organizations and systems that are out there. Well, a lot of those things are great, but they require a lot of prep work up front. There's things you got to do, extra trainings and extra understandings on top of everything else that you have. Well, I'm very excited to present to you the Stand Tall SEL program. Now, I'd rather not even call it a program. I'm basically handing it all to you. It is a day by day what you can do to have time with your students that are creative, energetic, full of great ideas that require absolutely no planning on your part. It is just there. You simply look at it and then do it. It is absolutely wonderful. The creator of this and I are going to sit down and talk it all through so that you can have a deeper and better understanding of what it is, the value that it has, and also something a little special as well. Check it out. Hello, everyone. This is Steve Bowler, also known as Stand Tall Steve, and we're here for a very special event. This is absolutely wonderful. I think this is different and new, but it also connects with everything that I've been doing all along and what we've been doing as it relates to climate culture and making connections with each other within the school, within the organization, and within your district so that you can get the best outcomes possible. So we're focusing on this time SEL. This is not a new term, is not a new understanding, but from Stand Tall Enterprises, Stand Tall Steve, we got a new angle. I have my good friend who's on here, who's going to go over it with us and just kind of dig down into this. The wonderful and amazing Miss Tina Dietrich. Hello, Tina. How are you?
Woo! Yeah. The crowd goes wild.
Crowd goes wild.
Steve. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Just to clarify, I think 99.9% of your listeners know what SEL is, but social emotional learning. Mm-hmm. And like you said, it's not a new term, but I feel like this year it has been brought more to the forefront and made to be more important than it ever has been. So
yeah, I would agree. I would agree 100%. And I'm glad you said that. So in case there's somebody who by chance you might not know exactly what that is and such, but from your perspective, first of all, let's give a little background about you. You are a school counselor. It just so happens you were my children's school counselor when they were in school at Fountain Woods Elementary School. But we've known each other how long?
I think we're going on about 14, 15 years.
14, maybe? 15 years. Yeah. It's been a minute because I knew you before you were my children's counselor and then became my children's counselor and such. But we've connected really, really well. We have the same
glasses.
What's that?
When I did the glasses to see.
It's been that long. I know.
Long, yeah.
Yeah, but we've connected. We have the same beliefs and philosophies as it relates to relationships, climate culture, and connectivity in schools. So let's start off with this. Let's kind of go through your understanding of SEL, the value of SEL as it relates to your job as a school counselor and how other educators can kind of see it.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, to me, obviously, social emotional, you want to connect to the whole child. I think a lot of times teachers have always been, rightfully so, more focused on, I need to teach this multiplication because we have a test and they have to know it for the test. And if I don't have my kids get a good grade, I'm not going to be a successful teacher according to whoever. And so I believe that just mostly really since COVID, I mean, not that it hasn't always been important to teach the whole child, but I think it kind of became secondary and has always sort of been secondary. But I think this year there's just been such a disconnect because you have some kids are at home, some are in the classroom, some, you wish were showing up and they're not. And, there's just been that push to try to connect and to try to reach that child on a more personal level and to get to know them and to try to have a classroom bonded through getting to know each other, but you're not even there physically in person, I think was a challenge. So
Right,
for
right.
us, our district has always been very forward thinking when it comes to social, emotional, mental health, that kind of thing, just because of occurrences that have happened. And I feel like this year, like I didn't even say, hey, we need this. It was like, hey, we're going to have this SEL period built into the schedule every day. What do you think we should do? And the other counselor I work with and our behavior specialist, we really were like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. You're actually
Mhm.
making time for this. Like the teachers have no choice.
Right,
This is what you
right.
have to do for this time. So we knew that they had a lot on their plate just with, the new things with technology and the whole hybrid learning situation. We really thought a lot of them might kind of let it slip through the cracks and because they were worried about getting other things done. So in order to kind of help them out, we decided that we had a whole different setup for our job this year. So we had time to create lessons and share them with the entire school once a week so that they could just have it in a little package with a bow ready to go. They didn't have to think, they didn't have to research, they didn't have to plan. Here's what you're doing today from this time to this time all week. And I think the teachers were very appreciative because they want to do it. It's not that they
Yeah,
don't want
yeah,
to do
because that's what I
social.
was thinking. The other side of this is, yes, you have teachers. Oh my gosh, I got this scope and sequence chart. I did these things that I have to do. But on the other
Right.
side of it, the teachers, like you were saying, they realize how important this is right now. But
Yeah.
I'm so overwhelmed. How in the world am I going to be able to do this? I
Exactly.
don't know what I'm going to do next. Not going to plan this as well. So to have someone like you and your other counselors, behaviorists, to do it for them, oh, it's like the skies
Yeah.
open up,
Yeah.
and it's just
Yeah.
like,
And
wow, that's just
And
wonderful.
I honestly have had multiple teachers, different grade levels, say, wow, I know my kids better this year than I ever did
Mhm.
because we're doing all these lessons and getting to know you and, that kind of thing. So it's really become kind of my passion, a new passion. Who thought 23 years into my career that I'd find a new focus? But
Yeah,
we
yeah.
really enjoyed doing the lessons. We know the teachers enjoyed it, the kids enjoyed it. So it's really been a labor of love. And when we first realized that we were going to do this, we're like, oh, there has to be something online that we can go
Mhm.
and find. There are some things. None of them
Yeah.
really, yeah, none of them. I don't want to, bash anybody who's, putting out SEL stuff, but a lot of it's just kind of boring. And it's not something that is going to motivate the teachers to want to do it, to the kids to want to participate. And we were like, so we have kind of found some things here and there, but not, I don't think what anybody else has is quite as good
Yeah,
as
yeah,
what
that's
we've
all
done.
right. Say it. Yeah.
It's okay. I think what we've
Yeah.
done is very well-rounded. It kind of reaches everybody. If you don't love the activity on Monday, you might love the one on Tuesday. And it really, it's just, I think it's more interesting than some of the stuff that we've seen.
Yeah, it's,
My,
it's what I like is that you're saying, and you said this before, it's not as much fun. I've seen certain SEL things, or let's get deep with these kids.
yeah,
Sometimes you don't need the deepness. You just need to make a connection. You got to know that
yes.
I like you, you like me, and the
Mhm.
relate. Now it opens the door so that if you need to have more of a deeper connection, it's available to you because of the different activities that you kind of set up that are fun, that are light, but are good and meaningful in some way too.
Yeah, I really didn't realize how special what we had developed was until one of the other teachers in the school who didn't actually have to do this. She's like a special area teacher, but her daughter has an SEL period in her school. And she got kind of thrown into being a classroom teacher, whether she wanted to or not. And as soon as she saw what we were doing, she's like, what you guys are doing is really, really good. And I'm like, okay, yeah, thanks, And she's like, no, really. She's like, come with me. And I'm like, okay. So she says, look at what my kid had to do this week. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it was just like, look at this circle. What does it mean to you? Like, you just very,
Yeah.
just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I definitely, that was kind of a little bit of a light bulb. Like, wow, what we have really is unique and different and better. I'm going to say it
Yeah.
and embrace it
Yeah,
better.
it is. It is better because
Yeah.
I remember when we were just talking. This is the story where we're getting up to this point right now. we were just talking, and you had mentioned that. I said, we're checking in on each other through the pandemic. I think it's what we were checking in on each other, and you're like, yeah, I'm working with these other counselors. We're putting this LCL things. Oh, okay, sounds cool. And then we talked later, and then I said, can I see this thing that you're talking about? And when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, what in the, it is phenomenal. It is rich. It is something different every single day. And I've seen a lot. And I trust me, I've worked with administrators, teachers, educators around the country. And many different places have these open periods, or they, even if they don't have the open periods, they're trying to find time to be able to do certain things. Correct. Nobody has anything that's like this. And that's when I think you and I explained to you, I don't think you realize how good this is. This is phenomenal. And I really think it's amazing in every way. It really is.
And when you said it, that really made me believe it. So, because I know you see a lot. You see a lot. So, yeah.
Yes. So talk to me a little bit about how it's set up. So from a teacher's perspective, what do they do? How is this set up? How do they look at this? How do they implement?
Okay, so what we sent to our teachers, what you will see and what you and I have packaged together is a little bit different, but still the same concept. So we wanted to make it more fun. I'm always about giving something, some kind of title or whatever. So it was, like Move It Monday, and they would do something to get themselves up and moving. Talk to Me Tuesday, they had to tell you about something. So everything, there's a day of the week with a little title, but what people will see if they choose to purchase this thing is you'll see days of the week, and really you can pick and choose whatever you want. If you feel like your classroom needs a little bit more of some mindfulness stuff that week, choose something that has to do with that. If you feel like they need something that's more to get them moving, choose that. They just need to laugh and have a good time, choose something from that. But it's set up by days of the week, and that's really how we send it to our teachers. We would say, the week of September 1st, here's your lesson Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And they went like that. But what I did is I took all the Mondays and put them together. All the Tuesdays are together. So you can really formulate your own week. So you don't have to, like some people I think see something set up and it has, all 100 and something lessons in a row, and they feel like they have to follow that row. You don't have to follow that row. I do recommend some of the ones. I believe I put like a little thing by them for the first week, just because you want to get to know each other before you get into some of this stuff. But it's build some trust, things like that. But really, for the most part, whatever you feel like doing, there's something to choose from for every day of the week. And if you want to do, I really would like to do that thing on Tuesday, but it says it's Monday, it doesn't matter. Change the name.
Yeah, go for it.
Don't be afraid. No one's going to say, that was for Tuesday. Nobody's going to know the difference. So I think it's really set up well. I think there's definitely, it will get you through every single day of the school year. And even some of the stuff you do, like some stuff repeats, but not identically. Like there's a couple different sets of like just fun, true and false things to, get the kids.
Well, give me some stuff. Let's dig into a couple things. Let's give some people some nuggets. Give me what's one of the activities, one of the things that that you came up with?
So just we did put some stuff in there for mindfulness. We did put some growth mindset, changing the way you're thinking, stuff like that. But one of our kids, seems ridiculous, but one of the absolute favorites, because toward the end of the year, we started to get a little burnout, and we put out to the kids, hey, what do you guys want to see? We had these epic or fail videos, and you watch the video, you stop it, and you decide, is this going to be epic or are they going to fail? And it's like a skateboarder going off a hill. And you would walk down the hallway and you hear, ha, ha, like they're hysterical. They're having such a good time. And it's basically because they're watching people get hurt, or maybe not get hurt, but they love it. And we had those. And then we also looked at, there's a national calendar of holidays. And some of you have probably seen it before. It's like, today is National Coaster Day, celebrate having a coaster for your drink. So we tried to incorporate some of those, and they made it fun too. But we did stuff for like Women's History Month, and there one was like National Invention Day, so it was all about like, we showed them the old school cell phone and all this stuff, and the teachers were talking to them about like, well, when I was your age, we didn't have this. So there's also some like trivia. Kids love to tell jokes, and we always
Yeah.
have the rule when you're telling jokes, obviously they have to be appropriate, but everybody has to laugh no matter what.
No
You
matter
are going to
what.
think that person's joke is the funniest thing you've ever heard, and you don't want anybody to feel bad. So we had just one day the kids are telling jokes. Some of it is true or false trivia stuff. We did some where it was, trivia about the teacher to get to know the teacher.
Oh,
There's
nice.
oh my gosh, it goes on for days. We
Yeah.
had for a couple weeks in a row, we did repeat. This is like the only lesson that completely repeated. It was Woohoo Wednesday. So over the course of 3 weeks, you should be able to fit, say 7 kids each day, and they got woohoos. So everybody, woohoo, you did this, woohoo, you did that.
Oh,
And
clever.
so
I like
every
that.
single person got a woohoo before that was over. And we knew that couldn't happen in one day because with a class of, 20 or 25 kids, you can't spend the whole entire day doing that. So that one did repeat. That's the only one I think we had that repeated for more than a week. But we did a lot of things similar to that, but then it would just have a different name where it was, given an up and a down. Everybody say, this was my up this week, this was my down. So it was all, a lot of it was for them to get to know each other, to really get to know past the surface. One of the things we did that they seemed to like was like in your house, like who's always late, who's the one who puts the empty
Yeah.
milk back thing, who's the one that, just to get to know families, and kids love
Ah,
to
yeah.
pets, and it could be a stuffed pet, we don't care. So just, I could go on and on. I mean,
Yeah.
there's hundreds
That's
of lessons.
perfect. Now,
Yeah.
one of the things that, of course, we talked about in the very beginning, you working in elementary school,
Yes.
upper elementary, but it's still elementary school.
Third, fourth,
Is this applicable for elementary, middle? Who is it at? Who is it for?
I feel like this program with a little bit of creativity could really be for all grade levels. I think some of this stuff is definitely more elementary, middle. High school, I think, would be a little more of a stretch, but I don't think it's impossible. I think it will still give you ideas. Just maybe some of the questions have a little extra follow up, or, maybe a little more in depth. But just the stuff getting to know you, that's human interaction on a daily basis, no matter how old you are. So
Right.
the getting to know you stuff, I think high school kids would enjoy the epic or fail. With the videos, there's so much stuff that I think with just a little creativity and a little bit of tweaking, you could definitely make it for high school. But I would primarily say elementary, middle, but it can work for high school. Just, I mean, a lot of the stuff I do with my recognition program is stuff that I stole from my high school and made it work for my elementary. So it can go the other way. You just have to know your audience, and
there you go. That's it. Now, you started this when everybody was virtual. And then it transitioned into the hybrid, into kids being back. How does that fare? Now, so when you're looking at these things, can it go both ways all the time? Are there some things that are more virtual, some things are more face-to-face? I mean, we're getting back to everybody kind of being face-to-face. How's it all connected?
Well, it's good that you mentioned that, because in some of the lessons we had, kids at home do this, kids in the school do that, the ones who are present in person. And when I edited it for this, I took out kind of the kids are at home part. But if for some reason we did have to go back to that, it can still work, because all of these lessons we did during that time, because we had kids that were at home all year round. We never had them all back. So a lot of it is, hold up a whiteboard, and you can have kids at home hold up a whiteboard.
Yeah, you can.
They can use the chat to answer questions. You can do like jam boards or things like that. So we had kids in both spaces, so it's 100% possible. Even some of the movement stuff was because the kids were at home, like not really moving. But why not get up and move in the classroom? There's absolutely no reason you don't need to, wiggle your body and wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning when you get to school. So it could go either way. And I think a lot of the lessons you could read into them, like, they definitely did this one for both, because it gives options. So, but 100% can work, obviously, for both. We had it going on.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, I love the whole thing in its entirety. And you can kind of see the thread going throughout it, that the whole point of this is to make connections with each other. The whole point of that is to get to know each other. The whole point of this is to create a climate and culture within your classroom, or even within your school overall, where there's a certain level of comfort that we have with each other, that we can make this work. We can connect. And the outcome of that is better instruction, better connectivity, better results that you want to see from your students, because the teachers are making those connections with the students at a much, much better level. So I love it. I just think it's absolutely wonderful. There's how many lessons? There's over like 300 plus, there's so many lessons that are in there.
Yeah, I'll have to tell you, we have 180 days of school. So
Yeah.
there's 100 lessons. I didn't
Yeah,
say count, but and the Woohoo Wednesday is, technically 3 lessons of that. But I mean, there's at least 180 because that's how many school
180.
days we have. And we
Exactly.
did it right up until the last day, started on day 1. So
right. Real quick, I just want to, now that, we're kind of heading back and, we can kind of wrap up this talk, but the one thing that really impressed me was what you did on the first day of school, pre-COVID, and how you really connected with people, how you really, it was just amazing. Talk about that, because one of the things I'm really saying is that when students come back to school, whether it's this year, next year, in the future, whatever like that, that is your one spot to make the first day amazing. So what you did, talk about what that is.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when you think about it, this goes hand in hand with that.
Yes.
Basically, it was an entire day of SEL. And at the time, we didn't even realize that's what we were doing. But we kind of had this drop the backpack, drop the rules, drop the you do this, you don't do that, and get to know your kids. Let them get to know you. Because if you can connect with them on a personal level and actually get to know the person, you're going to get way further than just, I know that kid gets A's, I know that kid gets B's. So our first day of school, and the teachers had a little bit of time to say, like, that's where you put your lunch count, stuff like that. Right. But we had throughout the entire day, it was all just like icebreakers, basically, for the kids to get to know each other, the teacher to get to know the kids, and the teachers were supposed to be, I think most of them did participate with them so that they're sharing as well. And, you had that, don't smile till December, out the window. If you have good classroom management, you can smile before December. You need to set the tone. So it was really, we had, from the time they come in, we had, however many periods we have in a day, they still had to go to specials and lunch and that, but we just had different icebreakers for them to get to know their teacher and get to know each other and kind of form that little community in their classroom to get to know each other.
And again, it was all planned out ahead of time. Every icebreaker, everything that needs to be done, what the teachers need to say, and how they need to do. Now, what was some of the feedback you got from the teachers when you first started doing this?
Oh, they loved it. They absolutely loved it. And again, just like with the SEL lessons, I never knew my kids this well. I learned more about these kids on the first day than I usually know about some of them in May, because you have those quiet kids who don't really come in like, hey, let me tell you what I did this weekend. You have so many of those that just are, they come in, they do what they have to do, they go home, and you don't know. So I think with this, it even makes the kids who might be struggling, like they're more comfortable going to the teacher because they've gotten to know them and they aren't scary. And it's really, I recommend it for any school, any grade level. I actually got this idea from a high school who they don't bring their backpacks the first day. And this is what they do. They just bond the whole first day. They get to know each other and get to know the culture of the school, for the ones coming in. I remember when you were developing that, when you were like, I remember the summer where you got the idea, and then I'm talking to this high school and I'm putting it together. What do you think of this, Steve? And okay, how did it go? And I think I called you that day, like, how did it go? Seeing that, it was just absolutely wonderful. So maybe is it possible, maybe I could twist your arm to maybe we can add a bonus to this package, and for an additional cost that could possibly be for your first day kickoff? I mean, I think it would be something great. We'll 100%. Yeah, we shall.
We shall. Yes, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I didn't even think to add that in there. That would be fantastic.
But we could possibly think of that. All right. Well, hey, this is great. So I'm so glad we got a chance to talk about this and really make the. Oh, you got something else? What's that?
Yeah, just one more thing with these SEL lessons.
Yes.
There's pretty much no prep involved. They're just ready to go. Every once in a while, it will say, like, ahead of time, you should do this, but almost never do you have to do anything ahead of time. So like over the weekend, you didn't get to look at the lessons. Oh no, I have to do this Monday. You walk in, you can pick a lesson that does not require any prep. They're done for you. So
everything's right there. Just click a button, read it, and do it within seconds. And I'll be honest with you, that's the one thing that I love more than anything, is how there's absolutely positively no prep. They're high quality, easy to do, easy access, and it just makes it absolutely wonderful for the whole school, for everybody. Good. Because I was going to say to you, what is one thing that you want to leave everybody? And I think that's it. Is that it's no prep.
Yeah, that's important for teachers. They don't want to prep anything else. No. And when you do have to prep, it's like cue up music for freeze dance. That ain't that hard. Make up a joke so you can start off the tell a joke day with a joke. Google, oh, I got it, you know? So it's really, any prep that is required is not much. There's not really materials involved. If you don't have whiteboard, use a piece of paper. I mean, it doesn't have to be fancy. You just make it work.
Make it work. Perfect, perfect. All right. Well, hey, there you go. Right at the end of this, we'll talk to you about how to get access to this so that you can have it for your school. And it's the great thing is it's going to be subscription based. So that means we're going to be updating it from year to year to year. I'm working with Tina here, updating it, making sure that it's great, and jump in on this. Be able to get a part of this, have this ready for your school. Start this year off on a positive note. Continuing on. Let's say the school year's already started and you're just now seeing this. All right. You could start at any time. It starts at any time. You can go with it. It's never a bad time to make connections with your students to really make those happen. It moves beyond the compliance of just making sure you have FCL to being committed to really being connecting with your students and everyone else. All right. All right. Hey, thank you, Tina, so much. I'm excited about this. I'm so glad we're working together on this, and I think it's going to be wonderful.
All right. Sounds good. Nice talking to you.
You too. Bye.